Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking Victor Davis Hanson's really fascinating take on US-China relations.
So let's dive right into the big question on everyone's mind. Is a US-China war actually inevitable?
This exact fear peaked recently, when China's Premier Xi actually voiced hopes of avoiding the Thucydides Trap.
Going by political scientist Graham Allison, this trap happens when an established power attacks a feared rising one.
The whole concept comes from ancient history where a dominant Sparta supposedly attacked a rising Athens.
But Hanson says this analogy is totally flawed. History shows Athens was actually already dominant for decades.
He points out their clash stemmed from deep existential differences, like democracy versus oligarchy, not just shifting power.
So does this ancient idea of a rising power challenging an established one fit the US and China?
Hanson argues, absolutely not. Looking at major superpower metrics, he asserts the US is actually the one ascending.
Just look at the data. US fertility rates vastly outpace a rapidly shrinking and aging China.
Plus, the US has massive resource independence in oil and food, unlike China's heavy reliance on imports.
Economically, Hanson notes just one American produces 40% more GDP than 4 Chinese workers combined.
Militarily, the U.S. maintains an overwhelming edge, possessing literally thousands more nuclear weapons than China.
The U.S. also deploys far more aircraft carrier groups, backed by a century of serious naval expertise.
Now, looking back at historical clashes between established empires and upstarts reveals a really surprising pattern.
Hanson points out that upstarts, like Germany or Japan, usually start these conflicts, and historically, they lose.
Also, power shifts don't inevitably mean war. The US peacefully replaced British primacy without firing a shot. Ultimately, Hanson concludes China's severe internal issues make it an unstable upstart, not a rising hegemon.
Instead of inevitable war, he argues this deep rivalry will be managed through mutual nuclear deterrence.
This fragile balance is effectively maintained by massive, opposing alliance networks spanning the globe. Which leaves us wondering, will these modern alliances and mutual deterrence actually be enough to prevent global war?